What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be going over how to counter Jesmon. So if you guys are feeling the pressure on Jesmon at locals, it's just what you're going to be feeling for a bit, right? Well, I think we have a solution to kind of counteract the game strategy and hopefully get us a W that way. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So first off, let's take a look at what this deck kind of does as its main focal points. Here, first off, it uses the new Jesmon as its new aggression target, right? So when any of your other Digimon are played, this Digimon may attack. So again, either they hard play it or they use an effect. Most of these have chain reactions when they play a Sistermon, so they play a novelty amount of Sistermons to kind of just deal with whatever they're trying to do. First off, they have a Sistermon that'll recover, but also being able to, when this Digimon is suspended, one of your other Digimon may Digivolve with Hawkmon in its name, or Royal Knight's trait, or CS in its name, or Trash with its Digivolution reduced by 1. So it reduces Digivolution cost, which this whole line kind of does in its own right. So first off, this is BT-23s, this one's a Searcher. This one is, trash one, draw one, gain a memory. So if you can choke them from gaining memory is also big, or drawing cards. Very important. So Mirage, an early Mirage on them before they kind of get set up can stall out. So just something to think about there, because they are going to have to draw a lot of cards to do so. Then you have Sistermon CL is kind of their answer to your rookie floodgates that they're going to be throwing at you, but all turns when this Digimon suspend Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. This thing is kind of cracked to play against. Again, cards like this is really powerful, and this one really showed how strong it can, right? So, and they also can players can't reduce play cost options, because again, they're not reducing their play costs, they just play for free. So stuff like that is kind of important, but their main kind of defensive line that kind of makes it why they're so scary is Gankoomon X Antibody. Being able to de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon by 2, if Gankoomon are X in X Antibodies in its Digivolution cards until the end of your opponent's turn, none of your Digimon are affected by your opponent's Digimon effects. In opponent's turn, all your Digimon with Sistermon or Hawkmon in their name or Royal Nitrates gain Reboot and Blocker. So the main focal point is that they kind of do this reduced play cost shenanigans with Gankoomon. So it reduces by 4, and then they use their Biohawk to reduce the play cost by another 2. So they don't mind doing the shenanigans here. When you do once per turn, you may play one card with Sistermon or Gankoomon in its name from your hand with its play cost reduced by 2. So they kind of just do this play where they kind of reduce the play cost, get Gankoomon on board to help protect their threats, and then they kind of just climb evolve, and then they're just really much of a pain in the rear, right? This one, end of the turn, by suspending one other Digimon, this Digimon may Digivolve into a card with Jesmon in its name in your hand without paying its cost. So very powerful skills in its own right. Master and Disciple helping to reduce Digievolution cost. Then you do have the new Sisters Trading Gym. So while you have a Digimon with Hawkmon in its name, you may ignore this card's color requirements, draw a card, then place this card into the battle area. When any of your Digimon Digivolve into a Digimon with Hawkmon or Jesmon in its name, delay, you may play one Sistermon card from your hand or trash without paying its cost. So you can special summon things as well. So again, the deck has, I get to play something for free. I have a protection-esque effect, but I can also be cheated out for reduced play costs. And then we do have, a protection skill that basically says you're not deleting my Digimon or affecting them until the following turn. So again, you can DP out threshold them though, because you can get big numbers, and that is really scary. But like any other deck that have an ace, this card is very scary, yes, but it doesn't gain that protection, which is huge. By placing one Royal Knight card from your hand or trash in its Digivolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon as much or less DP as this Digimon. When attacking, this Digimon unsuspends, then every 2 traits in its Digivolution trash the top card of security. So again, not terrible. It doesn't it's not as scary as like regular Jesmon GX, but again, just a good idea of what this deck kind of does. So let's take a look at some countermeasures if you're going to be running into this deck. So first off, I think we got cannot be played by effects, and we can't reduce Digivolution cost is kind of huge, right? These are the main kind of little guys that if your locals is flooded with Jesmon, these guys, if you can get 2 of them on board before they can do their shenanigans, can slow them down excessively. Again, cannot play by effects is huge because again, if you're going to be negating that, but again, you could always play cards like Psychmon because again, it's reducing the play cost is huge as well. So players can't reduce play costs. This is another option depending on your color combination. Again, good floodgate, multiple floodgates on board can slow this deck down a little bit, but again, I think the biggest contributor to kind of slowing this deck down is Crimson Blaze, because your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of their next turn. So this leads to just blanket deletion, and your opponent just isn't able to do things for that follow-up turn. So again, yes, you're going to have to deal with them being able to reduce the play cost of Gankoomon and stuff like that, but because you can't play Digimon by effects, you're not getting these free Sistermons coming out just willy-nilly. So that's super important because this is super clutch because the Sistermon gym, and then all your other Sistermons can't be played for free. So you're playing them at a cost, and again, that leads into most likely passing the turn. And again, Crimson Blaze just answers a lot of threats, right? So again, using the right floodgate rookie against them can help. Yes, they're kind of easily outed because A, they have, you know, Sistermon CL and a Savior Hawk, but again, they have to play those cards, right, and see them. So I mean, the Savior Hawk, they're most likely going to see. That's why I said if you can get 2 of them up on the right kind of turn, you can easily shut them down for a turn because they have to have both. And most likely there are times when they'll have both, but there's going to be times when they don't, and they can only answer one. And if they can't answer both, their whole combo plan gets shut off so quickly. So other cards to think about are Floodgators like Metallic Dramon here. That basically says when Digivolving, none of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon can Digivolve until the end of turn. This shuts them down hard. Metallic is a very good answer to Jesmon because again, they're most likely starting at rookie, climbing up. They're not going to start at a level 5 going up because that's where most of their effects chain is right through the level 5. So a good turn Metallic can shut them down very, very effectively. Now, we do have Volcanic Dramon as another option. Your opponents can't play or move Digimon with 6,000 DP or less until the end of a turn. Oh, surprise, surprise. Their level 4s are 5,000 DP and 4,000 DP, respectively. They have no way besides playing Gankoomon down. Being able to lock the Hawkmon back a turn is really scary for this deck, and it slows it down exponentially. So just something to think about there. But also, a card like this. Yes, if they don't have Gankoomon up, that's fine. But on play, when Digivolving, suspend 5 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. None of their Digimon can unsuspend until the next unsuspend phase. Then this Digimon may attack. So being able to attack and pierce through, and they're not going to block comfortably naturally, but you can easily on kill turns, if you know you're going to kill them, swing in with this, then you pop some of their options in the back, and if they're not on a Gankoomon turn, you're killing off a lot of threats here. You get piercing, so you're going to swing into something. If they had 2 bodies and an option, you're clearing out house. Examon answers a lot of threats in the meta just because of how powerful it is as an option. So just something to think about there. Another thing that you have to realize is that they are big bodies that don't like to die. They have this protection that kind of keeps them on the board, right? The big thing they can be is by battle. So using keywords like Iceclad. If they can't, again, Gankomon's most likely going to de-digivolve your level 6s. So, but level 4 that has Iceclad with blocker and you have a bigger stack most likely you're winning those competitions, right? They're not going to be able to swing comfortably because A, under right circumstances, you can just stop the attack more than likely because Ice Clad wins the battle, right? So it's a game mechanic change. So it's not affecting the Digimon, it's affecting the battle mechanic. So Ice Clad and effects like that are really powerful against Jesmon. They're not really suited for it. Medieval Gallantmon is another option, as long as, you know, Gankoomon wasn't up the turn or gets up immediately the moment Medieval is trying to do its thing. Medieval just being able to answer most threats. You can easily go like, well, I play my Sistermon by effect to try to chain everything. There's going to be a break in that chain eventually, as long as they don't go into Gankoomon in that chain. Medieval will get a way of deleting one of the stacks. So you can easily answer a threat on board with Medieval, just, again, if Gankoomon doesn't get live in that combo. So just something to think about there. Medieval can easily kind of outpace what they're trying to do. Then you have Imperial Digimon Fighter Mode. This card just saying no to your Digimon. Your opponent can't play Digimon or Tamer by effects until the end of turn. This card is really good into that combination. Really slows them down and really shows them being a threat. Hexablau is another option as well, because A, this thing, they don't have Tamers, but the fact of the matter is they will be slowed down by this card, just because when Digivolving Trash 4 Digievolutions, you're not really caring about that. It's the fact that they can't swing, so they have to get Gankoomon live to be able to get that game finishing swing, as long as they can't de-Digivolve Hexablau. So if it's already been past that, the Gankomon's already been live and they can't de-Digivolve it and do the Jesmon GX, if they're not playing old Jesmon GX and they're only playing the, you know, Ace, you have the better option because Hexablau is most likely stopping most of those attacks going through. You know, Skittimon with Ice Clad is not terrible either. Just really good threat. And again, like I said, Mirage is another great tool against them because A, most of their combos start with a draw discard shenanigans. So they have to play around Mirage, and it's very hard for the deck to do that just because A, you know, when attacking, this draws a card. They need to draw to kind of get their combos. Huckmon's going to gain that memory and kind of get back into the game. But again, they're spending turns to do it, and Mirage can slow them down to a little bit of snail pace that they're not going to be able to keep turn because A, they need to get these pieces. Again, a lot of their Huckmons grab 2 cards. So that means A, they grab, the first one grab will trigger the memory gain, you'll gain off of it, then they'll add the second, so just remember that. But again, draw a card, you punish them. So I think Mirage is another great tech into them. And if you gotta notice that there isn't a lot of between the colors that can just answer it naturally. Again, red has the best option to deal with it just because Crimson Blaze is very powerful. Black really has to rely heavily on Metallic Dramon to kind of just do it. But they also have the Floodgate rookies, but again, very weak, very susceptible to being lost in combat. Medieval Gallant is just super splashable. I mean, you could ruin mode them for a turn, but the big problem with ruin mode kind of esque effect is that, you know, ruin mode does get until the end of your opponent's turn, all their Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP. It does significantly slow down these guys, but again, you have to be careful because if, you know, Sistermon CL is already on board, when you move up your they move up the Bilehawk from the stack, it's just instantly going to do that, and then they can just combo off and get to Gankoomon, and then your minusing DP threshold doesn't matter anymore. So just remember that there are going to be cases that you're going to have to be careful of. You know, plug in. Remember, also, options do matter on this. Plug in. Plug. Plug. In. God, I hate when the game doesn't want to work. Say Q. Give one of your opponents to... No, place this as a nut. Well, no, we don't want Q. There's a particular plugin that we know exists, which we want to see. Here we go. Pause plugin P. Until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP, and that Digimon's when Digimon effects do not activate. So it is a 5-cost option. Again, Sakuya will more likely use this against, you know, Jesmon, as long as it's not the same promote turn. And then you have Chaosmon. Yeah, Chaosmon, Volder Arm. Just because of the you know, for each of these Digimon's level 6 cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, Tamers, and gain a memory, then none of their Digimon or Tamers can activate on-play effects or unsuspend until the end of their turn. So, yeah, being able to shut down that on-play effect is huge because that's where they kind of get the combinations. Again, this is where, you know, this Gankoomon gets the free evolution. So if you can stop the on-play of this, you're in a good spot. Means they can't cheat Ink and Gankoomon X. So yeah, I mean, they're great options to kind of slow the deck down. You do realize that they take a minute or two to kind of set up, but going from there, hopefully guys, you found this video interesting and insightful. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.